Developing today is a standoff between the St. Louis Sheriff and the Missouri Attorney General. Andrew Bailey demanded Alfred Montgomery resign or he'll work to remove him from office. Montgomery says he won't go. This all comes after accusations of financial mismanagement and abuse of authority. 5 on Your Side's political reporter Mark Maxwell is live with reaction from the sheriff ahead of a news conference being held by AG Bailey. Mark?
Okay, the new sheriff, Alfred Montgomery, was defiant in a press conference yesterday afternoon, declaring he will not step down, he won't resign. In just a few moments, we'll hear from Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who intends to prosecute this case to impeach or expel Montgomery. We got a bit of a preview on social media last night when Andrew Bailey took that Montgomery quote, "I won't resign," and shared it saying, "I've heard this one before." He was, of course, referring to former circuit attorney Kim Gardner. It was 2 years ago we saw Bailey bring that quo warranto proceeding against her. She delivered a similar defiant response at first, only to later resign once the pressure of those legal proceedings got underway. Here, the facts of the case are much different. We don't have an absentee sheriff refusing to do his job. If anything, his critics say that Montgomery is stretching the bounds of his power to try and do things that aren't really in his job description. Legal experts tell us the crux of this case could come down to that jail standoff that brought Montgomery under federal investigation. When he ordered the jail commissioner handcuffed, Montgomery refused to take our questions yesterday, but he did send out his lawyer, retired Judge David Mason, to answer them in his place. Would your job be easier if he hadn't had Miss Ross put in handcuffs?
That's an interesting question, Counselor. I honestly can't give you an answer to that because, fortunately, I'm not handling the defense on that.
It could come up in this case.
I see where you're going. I see where you're going, and to be perfectly frank with you, that is not my place to speak of.
Do you think he regrets that?
Sir?
Do you think he regrets that?
Do I think he would what?
Do you think he regrets that? He's not here to answer questions. Do you think he regrets that action?
Oh, I can't get in his head on that. I don't know if he regrets that or not.
Again, we expect to hear from Attorney General Andrew Bailey here in just about 25 minutes or so. Perhaps we'll hear more on that particular matter, but we expect that we'll ask him, how will he meet that high legal standard to prove that there's been enough evidence here to expel a public official?
And Mark, really there have been many complaints since Sheriff Montgomery took office on January 1st. One of them refusing to transport sick detainees from city jails to doctor's appointments. So could the Attorney General use that to prove negligence here?
He might try, but that's also a complicated legal dispute that almost everyone agrees is ambiguous in the law. Montgomery essentially held those sick inmates hostage in his push to get more money in the city budget as a part of a negotiation tactic. So legal experts tell us that the courts may see that as merely an ill-conceived budget negotiation tactic, and it backfired badly, but is it enough to kick him out of the job? That's a question we'll ask Attorney General Andrew Bailey here in a few minutes. Of course, you can watch that whole thing live on 5+, okay?
And do you think this will play out over time, Mark, not be a quick thing if the attempt is made?
Well, certainly. The Attorney General is already asking to expedite the case, but a judge is likely to give, that right to a speedy trial is the right of the defendant. So the defendant could step in here and try to slow this down through motions and all kinds of things. But there will be, if this proceeds forward, there will be all those different motions through discovery, and there'll be subpoenas, and the Attorney General will gather evidence. So yes, this is not going to be an instant fight, especially if Montgomery digs in for some time. We could see this drag out perhaps for months.
All right, thank you, Mark. Attorney General Bailey, once again, expected to hold a news conference in about 25 minutes. Mark is there. We will stream it live on 5+. Look for a report on 5 on Your Side at 4, 5, and 6.